Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, the number one podcast in Colorado Springs. Today we have a really special guest, Mr. Clay Ross with Yobel and the Lookup Gallery. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We really appreciate it. In light of a lot of recent events, we have a lot to get into today for our show. But let's just start with, what is Yobel?
Yobel is an ethical fashion boutique. We do men's and women's head-to-toe clothing. So we work with about 65 global artisans, 20 countries.
Wow.
The majority of everything that we consume, whether it's coffee, chocolate, or clothing, still to this day is made by slaves at best, people that are exploited.
Wow.
So we just make sure that it's all done right.
Nice. And so let's talk a little bit more about that process. Like how well, for one, how did you get into this industry? And then the Lookup Gallery is also inside Yobel too, right?
Yeah. Well, Yobel has been around for quite some time, 2008-ish. So dear friends of ours, Donovan Kennedy and Sarah Ray, founded Yobel. And kind of like most of us, when we see brokenness, pain, whether it's, on the other side of the proverbial tracks, or, we hop a pond and we go somewhere in the world and we see some kind of brokenness. There's just something in us that is like, I got to do something. And so these two friends in their college years were doing a lot of traveling and saw a lot of pain. And so as young people, we're just trying to figure out what to do. And they were, pulling their tips to start an orphanage and doing different things and continuing to travel and seeing more things. Fast forward, that ended up becoming, meeting artisans and bringing artisans stuff back to the States, and doing like farmers markets. And then that turned into a storefront, brick and mortar in Old Colorado City.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Redefine Mortgages. Are you looking to keep your top talent happy and invested in your company? Redefine Mortgages understands that home ownership leads to higher employee satisfaction and retention. That's why their Mortgage Perks program is designed to assist your employees in securing the home they've always wanted. Their services stand out with 24/7 access to dedicated loan officers, personalized consultations, and savings up to $5,000 on home purchases through internal partners. Visit redefinemortgages.com/mortgage perks or call them at 719-413-5120.
Franchise succeed.
Have you ever thought about scaling your business nationwide? They specialize in helping small to mid-sized businesses grow through franchising, offering a full range of services from legal and financial considerations to marketing and sales. With over 6 decades of experience, the team at Franchise Succeed has a unique perspective on franchising, offering tailored strategies for both new and existing franchisors. They'll guide you through every step of the franchise process. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, visit franchisesucceed.com to schedule a free consultation.
Dope Tees. Our next sponsor is Dope Tees.
What?
Yes, a brand that's all about elevating your wardrobe game. They're on a mission to provide dope clothing that not only looks killer, but also makes you feel like $1,000,000.
Ooh.
Their designs are fresh and their quality is top notch. And they're all about making a statement.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't be happier to have them on board as a sponsor.
And we're pumped to see what new incredible things we're going to accomplish together.
That was pretty good. I was pretty enthusiastic. I'm not gonna lie. DOPETEEZ.biz.
Our next sponsor is
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care. Imagine a healthcare experience that's truly tailored to your needs.
Let me imagine it. I got it.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care is revolutionizing the way we think about healthcare. Their model is straightforward. You pay monthly subscriptions directly to your primary care physician. This means no insurance companies or third-party players involved. Pinnacle believes in a healthcare system that's more personal, more accessible, and ultimately more effective.
That's pinnacleapc.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
And then as it kind of evolved, there was just this, I think a lot of us think to help someone, you give them $1. It's very much a charity mindset. And for Sarah, it was, why we're sitting here today, it was business. She coined the phrase, charity doesn't change lives, but business does. And so she developed her own business curriculum, continued traveling, going into these areas that were pretty poverty stricken, That really is the crux of exploitation. People that are struggling and in these areas in the world that have a lot of poverty, those are the areas that there's desperation. And if there's desperation, that is very easily exploited. So, so she started going to these areas and teaching just basic business skills and really helping people to leverage their natural resources to provide for their families and build community. So started doing that. So it was both the wholesale and a nonprofit doing the business training globally. And then I had planted a church around the same time here in town, and really just became a huge fan of Yobel and what they were doing. We were both doing a lot with anti-trafficking work, and so we did a lot of events together. But really, I was just a cheerleader. I'd walk over to their space every week and bring them bhakti chai, and we hang out together. And my wife, same way, big cheerleader champion. When she was a young girl, she dreamt of red carpet. She wanted to be a designer. And when she was in high school, she discovered the ugly side of the fashion industry and was just like shocked and just didn't want to have anything to do with that unless she could make it better. So, like, I think when we're younger, we're just like, we have no concept of money or anything.
Right.
So she's like, when I grow up, I'm going to get rich and start my own design, and I'm going to buy these sweatshops. I'm going to revamp them, and I'm going to have childcare, and all these things. And then life happens, and so 16 years later in an HR career, but Tom's for Emily was the first company that was really doing things right. And like she's like, this is what I'm talking about. So when she discovered Yobel, it was just so exciting. So when she and I got married 6 years ago, our first conversation was at the Whiskey House, my brother's place down the street. And
which place what's the name of that
Axe
place?
in the Oak. Yeah. So our first conversation was about Yobel, and yeah. Oh, so we had our first conversation about Yobel. We got married upstairs in the gym. On our honeymoon, Sarah called us and just said, "Hey, I know you guys are on your honeymoon. When you get back, we need to talk about Yobel. I don't know what that means." So it was like a year-long conversation, and she just knew that we needed to be involved. She didn't know how or why or whatever. And we're just happy to be part of the conversation because we were big fans. So eventually she's like, "I'm not selling, but if I was selling, would you guys be interested?" And so it was a quick yes, and about another year process. And so at that time, Yobel was women's accessories, jewelry, bags, still all fair trade. And so we bought it September 2019. And our dream was to be able to do what we're doing now, head to toe, men's and women's, everything ethically. That was like our 5-year plan. So we bought in September 2019. We had 6 really great months there at Ivy Wild. It was like 200 square feet, tiny little accessories shop. I always jokingly say that we invented social distancing because if one person came in, another person had to go out. It was just so small,
yeah.
But it was fun over there. But we had 6 great months over there, and then the world shut down. So because of Ivy Wild, it's a cool space,
Yeah,
but
it is.
because there's all these different things going on, it's considered an event space.
Oh, okay.
So it was under different rules during that time. So the inside, like Bristol had its own door and can kind of operate on its own. Axe and the Oak had its own door, could operate, but everyone else was inside this event space. So we were shut down indefinitely. And the inside of that space was about a year. But after 2 months, we're like, we just bought this business. We got to figure something out. So it was either throw in the towel after 6 months or go big.
Yeah.
So we had just bought the business and had no intention of going anywhere. But because of that, we had to find a door that we can open.
Mm-hmm.
And so started scrambling, called a friend that was a broker, said, we need to find a space. It needs to be turnkey. We got to open tomorrow. And so found a space down here that we liked. It was not turnkey. It was a full build out. Didn't have floors.
Oh,
It didn't
geez.
have anything. So another 2 weeks. So about 4 weeks total being shut down and a full build out. And
You got to build out in 2 weeks?
yeah,
Nice.
and we just
You were ready
cranked
to-
it.
you're like, this is what we have to do.
It was around the clock, and we both had full-time jobs
Oh, geez.
at that time outside of Yobel. So yeah, after 4 months, we were opened up downtown, and during that time, we also still had to find brand new artisans to be able to, because at that point we weren't doing clothing, still accessories. So we had to source everything fast. And then been there for about 3.5 years, going on 4 years.
How do you find and source these artisans? Like, what is the process behind that?
The world is very, very, very small nowadays. With the internet and with any kind of niche group, the world gets smaller.
Oh, yeah.
So the fashion industry is one of the worst. It's about somewhere between 2 to 5% of the fashion industry is clothing's made ethically, which is nothing. So that group is very small, and so everybody kind of knows each other. So it's not too difficult to find somebody or find a brand that knows another brand or something. So and we're always on the hunt. The thing that makes it really challenging is not unlike having a business here where small businesses can't always compete with the big chains. So, a artisan group that is hand block printing shirts in India can't always compete with someone that's coming in and mass producing a knockoff. So every year it's like, oh, we found, kind of a running line, artisans that we want to work with. And then we'll get the phone call like, we're tapping out. We can't make it. So that's probably our biggest challenge, continuing to search for something that we need, because one of our, and it's hard because these people become friends, I mean, Emily's in tears every day right now because all she can think about is our artisans. So
Do you guys probably help support them?
yeah, I mean, we're not the only ones,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's near and dear to our heart. I mean, Yobel is a business, and we believe that profit is a really good thing, but that's not the why for us. The why is people, and we just happen to believe that if people and our planet are priority, then we actually all profit, in all kinds of ways, including financially.
For sure.
So, but that last piece isn't the why for us. It really is. People are a priority for us.
How do you know though? What's the difference between ethically sourced artisans and not? How like
Yeah.
what is the criteria? I mean,
And now a word from our sponsors.
Epic Eyewear.
Our next sponsor is Epic Eyewear, a remarkable veteran-owned brand that's revolutionizing the way we think about sunglasses. At Epic Eyewear, they believe that designer quality doesn't have to come with a hefty price tag. Their range of stylish, durable, and comfortable sunglasses is crafted to cater to all your needs. Each pair is a blend of contemporary design and practical features, ensuring you look good and your eyes are protected, no matter where your adventures take you. So, if you're in the market for a new pair of shades, remember Epic Eyewear. Check out their collection today and elevate your eyewear game.
Our next sponsor is Planet Duct. Did you know what's lurking in your air ducts can impact your health and wallet? Planet Duct, a leader in air duct cleaning, uses the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado to ensure your indoor air quality is top notch. They bring a whole new level of clean to your home or business, helping you enjoy lower utility bills, better respiratory health, and prevent damage to your HVAC system. And let's not forget about the dryer vent cleaning, essential for preventing fires and reducing drying times. Check them out at planetduct.com to learn more.
Real dumb down is no sweatshops.
Okay.
But for us, it's so think of organic.
Mhm.
Okay, so to get that certification, is a whole lot of money, a lot of hoops to jump through. It's very challenging. I'm not saying don't buy organic. Buy organic. You should buy organic.
Mhm.
But the four of us wanted to go, start hydroponics or grow something in our backyard. We could do it organically and we could sell it at the farmer's market or whatever, but we can't sell it with the organic, stamp of approval,
Right.
even though it is.
Mhm.
And we might even be able to do it better, but those labels are very expensive. So we have clothing in our shop that is the Fair Trade Federation. We have, certified B Corp. There's all kinds of wrap. There's all
Mhm.
kinds of different kind of stamps of approval. And those stamps make it super, super easy for us to, like, all the homework is done.
Mm-hmm.
But we also work with smaller artisan groups that don't have that stamp of approval. So but those are more like, so like if you go buy coffee, you can buy fair trade certified coffee, or you can buy direct trade. Direct trade means like, I know you, I'm getting it from you, I know everything about your farm. And so a lot of our clothing is that concept. It's direct trade. We know the people that are making it. We know what their factories are like. We know, I mean, and factories, when I say factories, it doesn't mean like this big, huge thing always. Sometimes it's like this room,
Yeah.
So like this, we just had made, this is one of the ones that survived. But so this was like our very first like signature piece. So Jarrett, really good friend of ours, he's in LA, and he has a pattern maker and a group of 4 seamstresses that are freaking awesome. They're just killing it. So they do everything by hand. So it's not this massive operation. It's just, essentially 6 people, Um, so as long as we know that there's people are treated with dignity, there's safe working conditions, and people make a livable wage, then that's our 3 things that we got to check those boxes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to you that is the case with anything that you do? It sounds like people become for the profits, which is amazing. Where does this start for you for that to be so important? Was it instilled in childhood? Where did this come from? You also said setting up like roots for a church. So I just wanted to kind of peel back and see, where the base behind all this came from for you and your family.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't have a quick answer. People have just always been really important to me. Uh, I was just talking to a friend this week about the that we feel towards people.
Yeah.
And I remember a couple years ago, my son, somebody did something and he was irritated about it, and it's just kind of like this appalled moment. They were like, "Oh my gosh, how can people be so crummy?" And I was like, bud, I feel like every day for me is me saying, people suck. People are awesome. People suck. People are awesome. I mean, it's just this constant,
Right.
And but at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of horror going on in our world, and we can talk about, wars and politics and like just the list goes on and on. That just makes our stomach turn, our hearts break, and everything. And those things really stick with us, and it's hard to shake that off enough to also see that, man, people are freaking awesome. People are, I mean, we think you guys have this business podcast, and just here in the Springs, I mean, this is a special place to live. I always tell people that, especially people starting a business, whoever you think your competition is, I guarantee they're your biggest cheerleader. You want to open a coffee shop and your espresso machine breaks, go across the street to the other coffee shop. They'll come fix it for you, or teach you how to do it. I mean, it is a special place to be. And everything. If you're doing podcasts, I'm sure you talk to other people. If you're
Marketing.
whiskey, if
Yeah,
you're
whiskey,
marketing, if
yeah.
you're whatever you're doing, like everybody is going to rally for you. We
Mhm.
had fire this past week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it's been. And
4 weeks by the time this
eh,
podcast is out.
it'll be for the last couple weeks, it's been surprises every single day. We're learning things that we never cared about and we don't want to go back to, but it's so much work. So many surprises around every corner. But what's not surprising is our community. Like, they just show up, they give, they want to throw a party. They, Bread and Butter did barbecue to raise money for
That's
the
awesome.
businesses and they raised $4,000 in a couple hours. I mean, it's just amazing. FH Brewery threw a party for us. I mean, it's just crazy. And I think that can be overwhelming, but here in the Springs, it's just not surprising. We know that our community shows up. So, anyways, going back to how I think people, we just love people. We care about people. We want to help people. It's the same reason that Yobel started people. They saw brokenness. They wanted to help. And they just, they didn't have the answers, but they were going to figure out a way, so that's kind of always been that story for me, for Emily. I've worked with adults with developmental disabilities. I youth pastor. I worked at the teen homeless shelter downtown. I planted a church. It's just what you do. It's where we belong. We love people.
I had a roommate once who actually was friends on Facebook with you.
Yeah.
She said she was your youth pastor, or you were her youth pastor.
Oh, awesome.
This just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it's a small world, like you said.
Yeah. And I really haven't had like big dreams in my life. The only thing that, since I was a kid, the only thing that I dreamt of was I wanted to be a dad. That's it. But other
Awesome.
than everything else is just kind of had a way of finding me, when I worked with adults with developmental disabilities, I loved that job. That's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I loved it. And then became a youth pastor. Man, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And then I planted a church, and man, I just want to plant churches for the rest of my life. Everything that I've done, that's all I want to do. But they've always been, working with people, and I love doing that. So, yeah.
Shines through for you. You can tell that you like connecting with people and uncovering different stories behind them. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of that might be also your faith too, and what you've been able to share. You kind of like shines through with you, but it sounds like at your base you just love people, and that's
Just love
awesome.
people.
It
Yeah.
sounds like you found a wife
People-
who's very similar, and
She is like the
More
most
so?
amazing person on the planet. Yeah, by far. Yeah. And the amount of people in my life that are amazing is stacked pretty deep. And she's just the best. Yeah. She's the best.
what is that to say to having a business partner who's also your wife? And they call that a power couple in a lot of circles.
Well, I would say that our situation, not every couple should work together. That's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's really healthy. Don't work together. It just happens to work for us.
Mm.
We just happen to have all everything that I'm lacking, she makes up in, and vice versa. Yeah, we just complement each other really well. It works really nicely. We like being with each other all the time.
That's hard to come by.
It is
like-
hard. Yeah.
You guys are in the
Yeah.
same building right now, in fact.
Yeah. It's usually our story. Even if we're not together, we're like a couple feet
In the
away
same
from each
perimeter
other.
somewhere together. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I think a lot of it has to do with like give and take for who takes the lead on certain situations
Yeah.
too. Like I'm sure there's situations where you take the lead and vice versa for her. And
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about that. Like what are those situations for you guys?
Well, just the situation that we're in right now. Insurance is goofy. They make it really challenging. It's a game. They just don't know my wife. If it was me, if it was my responsibility to chase all that down, I'd be asking everybody help, whining and complaining and pouting and banging my head on the wall and just like, fine, I'll just take what I can get or what,
Right.
It's just not my forte,
Mhm.
Hey, you want to fill out a spreadsheet? No. Do you want to do an online form? Absolutely not. You want to talk about Excel? Never. Like, no way. But Emily's mind works that way.
Mhm.
But, for the next couple months, we're going to be on the move and on the run. And, we can't operate the boutique, but we also represent artists every month. So for me, I'm like running around town, pounding on doors, hey, can we play? Can we do something together? Cause we really need to, represent our artist well. So that's, Emily doesn't want to do that. So we're able to divide and conquer really well. Um, Same thing with the boutique. I love to research. So I do all of the finding, um, checking out new artisans, doing all the background stuff, making sure everything checks out. And then, if you ever see us in the store and you catch me at the register, Emily's not far behind to come up and like, you need me to help you with that? Because
Right.
it's just not. I want to tell everybody all the stories and
Right.
play tour guide and educate and hear about your day, but all those other things is not what I want to be doing.
No.
And she's great at it.
That's awesome. Well, and just like you said, I can't harp any more on it. Like this community, especially in downtown Colorado Springs, we're a downtown business as well. It is like a big family down here. But with
Yeah.
that being said, there's a lot, like word gets around real quick, especially when there's tragedies in our downtown area. And there was
Yeah.
a recent tragedy on your street, in fact,
Yeah.
right attached to your building. Talk a little
Yeah.
bit more about what happened so our viewers can understand a little bit more about the situation regarding your guys' business.
Yeah. Don't know all the details, but yeah, there was a fire at the restaurant right next door, Taste of Jerusalem. They don't know exactly what the cause was, but yeah, it affected the whole building. So in that building is icons, uh, Local Honey, us, um, Shame and Regret, Into the Grave Tattoo, and then there's a bunch of offices upstairs, real estate, different things upstairs that were also affected. Um, Taste of Jerusalem is the only one that the fire like completely wiped out the whole space.
Man.
So fire department got there fast, fast, fast. I mean, unbelievably fast. And they said 5 more minutes and the whole building would have been gone. But the smoke pretty much killed everything. I mean, the smoke is it's insane how much damage smoke does and ongoing damage. So we started with very high hopes that we do a cleanup and be able to get back in there by January, and that was already pretty devastating because this is it's December. That's the Super Bowl for retail. So we just bought big and we lost everything. So it was already devastating, but we're trying to, be positive, be back in January. And they're like, yeah, there's no way. So it's going to take longer to clean up. Okay. Well, okay. February, maybe March. Okay. Then we have another meeting. They're like 6 to 11 months is where it's going to be. And, so, hunker down and we're prepared to do that. Okay, we'll just breathe, try not to overreact. And then we just got the last, notice that bare minimum a year and to start looking for somewhere else. So this weekend's Christmas and we'll try to pretend like everything's fine and then get back to the hunt next week. But in the meantime, we do have Universal Education Foundation has been kind enough to allow us to use their space for next month's art show featuring Sarah Wright. So we're super grateful for them.
Where are they located?
They are on the corner of Weber and Platt, just 1 block from the corner of Acacia Park. So super easy, right in the core of everything. Yeah, it'll be a great party. So we'll keep looking for a place that we can do that ongoing because we started the gallery about 1.5 years ago. We do a solo show every month featuring large scale abstract and impressionistic work. And we're booked through 2025, so we want to represent artists well. We don't want to drop the ball on that, because I mean the fire, figuring out the fire stuff, that's our responsibility. It's not artist. And for an artist to put a show together, I mean, that's 6 to 18 months worth of work for an artist to put. If you go to an art show, what you're seeing on the wall is a culmination of a lot of work and collaboration and with gallerists and everything. But for that artist, it's a lot of time, a lot of money, and you kind of have one night to shine. It's kind of like a play. People rehearse and put everything together for a year or years, and then you like, this is it. So we're not about to drop the ball on representing artists really well here.
And it was hosted at Yobel?
Yeah. So I'm an artist. We had talked about gallery someday, and we were sitting on the couch one night, and we don't have another space to do a gallery, but we have really tall ceilings, and it was just like, what if we could install art, hang art in a way that was at an angle. When you looked up, it was still line of sight. And we're like sitting there, we're like the look up gallery. And we're just like, quickly, like, it's available, get the domain.
For sure.
And so the rest is history. I mean, it is a kind of an awkward space, because it's not just like a traditional gallery. It is a clothing boutique. It's above everything. So I did, so we quickly had to figure out how could we display this work in a way that would still be line of sight, but above everything. So we figured that out. I put together a show just so we could show artists what we're capable of in that space. And the thought process was, I would do one show, we'd see if it worked, we show artists what we're capable of, and then we do a call for artists. Well, we did one show, and artists we still have never done a call for artists. So we're a year and a half into this thing. We're booked till 2025. Artists in this community have been freaking awesome. It's been such a fun privilege to get to represent local artists in this large scale way.
That's awesome. So we talked a little bit about before we started recording about your family and how creative you all are, and I mean, inherently there's so much. I mean, we had your brother Rocky on. He has so much that he loves creatively: tattooing, breakdancing, DJing. He does it all at such a high level. And then you have you, and you're an artist, and like you love people, and like the creativity of the Lookup Gallery and Yobel, and like what that represents. And where does that part come from? Were you guys raised in a creative family? Because my family was. I always tell my girlfriend she's very creative.
Yeah.
And like everything she does, like present wise, like she makes the presents for Christmas, and like my family's like gift card.
Yeah.
Gift card. And that's how I was raised. And so like being with somebody like that, or working with Andrew, because Andrew's very much a creative too. It's just, I love working with people who are creative.
Yeah.
But is that something that?
Yeah. I mean, my dad was like a carpenter. He could kind of do anything. He was always making something for us. I had a grandma and great grandma that were really pretty great artists. But it was just kind of something that we did. I always was drawing, got more into kind of the arts in junior high and high school, kind of just the whole pop culture. So it was, break dancing and emceeing and graffiti and, all that. So I started break dancing. Rocky really started break dancing, but I really turned to the can. I love
graffiti.
Yeah, I love spray paint. So that was kind of where I ended up. But after high school, art was just always something that like I enjoyed doing, but I didn't have to do. I'd like to do more of it. But it wasn't like this driving force. I had a little stint in high school. I got a scholarship to go to Savannah, Georgia, which is like the art school here in America. And felt like I was really cool because I got to be in the Fine Art Center and
Yeah,
got
that's
the
awesome.
scholarship and yeah, with the scholarship, I thought I won the lottery. It was $11,000. I mean, it was 20 some odd years ago. I mean, I thought I was big time, and then I found out how much the school was. School was like 26 a year, and it's not here, and we just didn't grow up that way, and it's like all the wind is out of my sail. So I was like, well, forget that. So anyways, uh, I always had a friend. They're like, hey, can you paint me this? Like, yeah, sure. Buy me a canvas and some supplies and I'll do that. And then a coworker, hey, could you do it? Yeah, sure. And then at one point I was working at community outreach, and that was the agency that worked with adults with developmental disabilities. And I kept having coworkers ask me for artwork, and finally had a coworker said, okay, enough's enough. You're going to figure out your prices and you're going to charge us to do this. And then so I was about 24 years old, and it's like, oh, I guess I should try to pursue this. So I started kind of going around town, and there was an artist, Nancy Stage Robinson, a beautiful human being and amazing artist. Her studio is now over at Cottonwood. Well, she had her own studio and gallery off of Cheyenne Mountain way back in the day, and I walked in there. And I was about 24 years old, and said who I was and loved your work, and I want to be an artist. What do I need to do? And she kind of like just laid it all out for me, what I need to do. And I really started pursuing it, put a collection together, went into a gallery, showed them all my work. They wanted to take everything. And the gallerist was like, okay, well, I'm going to hang all these. And then do you barter? I'm like, what does that mean? What do you barter? He's like, well, I make jewelry. So I will hang all of this, but then these 4 I want to take home. Will you trade for jewelry? And so, I mean, I thought I was just such hot stuff at that time, because he accepted all of my artwork, and then he took some, and then I took jewelry home for my wife at the time. And so I thought I was big time. So I did that for a while, but really at that, I mean, art has grown so much in Colorado Springs. It's like everything else. I mean, really everything's been happening in the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, food and beverage has put us on the map and set us in the right direction. But man, art has stumbled around for a long time here in the Springs, and it's very, very touristy. So there was never any real traction in galleries. I kind of became the go-to like commission guy. So if somebody came in and saw an artist, like, we want something like this, but we want it, had some like specifics, the gallerist would call the artist and they'd say how much it would be and how long it would take. And I was just like the yes guy, young and didn't know anything. So they call me, hey, the painting in the back with this and that, and you think you could do something like that, and how long will it take? And I'm like, I'll do it this weekend. So I was just because I was fast and I was cheap. So I don't know what that says about me, but so, did that, but it wasn't like a thing that I have to do. It was fun for a while, but yeah, I just always tell people that art just has always had a way of finding me. I really have always believed that art would be kind of my retirement plan when I'm done with all the other things and I'm too old to do whatever. Hopefully I'll just retire and I'll get to create art for a living. But after I did that show last year, like something just switched in me. I'm like, I need to do more of this. So last year I've definitely dedicated more of my life to creating.
I think it shows too on your social media as well too. It seems like you're not only creating art, but you're also documenting it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And it's been a lot of fun. The last series creating art that's about our city.
Yeah.
Just all these wonderful moments.
And you sell the prints too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that on the website. So it's like if the original one's already sold and you want that piece, there's still a print that you can get directly from
Yeah,
you, right?
which is good for a lot of people because I do large scale work. So it doesn't, I mean, if it was an artist that I'm following and I really wanted their work, I couldn't take it home because we don't have the space. So we live downtown. So we have like a we love summer times because we have a front porch and a nice backyard. Like if it's summer, everyone can come over. If it's winter, you can't unless we're sitting laps. It just doesn't work, So we just don't have the wall space. So yeah, prints are a nice way to have a piece of your favorite artist. Yeah.
What is your draw here to Colorado Springs? Like, why Colorado Springs for art for you? Why have you established roots here?
Well, I mean, we're just my family has been here forever. I mean, Emily and I both love Colorado Springs. We love Colorado. We love our Smolorado Springs. It is a very special place, but I think it really is twofold for us. It's because we we are just passionate about this place that we grew up, but also love that our family has roots here. So um, Emily's on Emily's dad's side, going back 300 years, Spanish land grants in San Luis Valley. On my dad's side, Irish land grants, San Luis Valley.
How far
So
going back?
what's that?
How far going back on your dad's side?
300 years,
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
So and then on my mom's side, they came over, covered wagon, settled in Cripple Creek.
Wow.
It was horrible. Everyone got sick and broke legs and everything. It was horrible. It was way before the gold rush. But anyways, named Cripple Creek, got the heck out of Dodge, settled in Colorado Springs about 6 years before Colorado Springs was established. So we've been here for a long time. So it's a special place to be. We love that we have some roots here.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So mostly in this general area, and then you said San Luis. That's Southwest, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Alamosa would be like the
Yeah.
largest. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, my family's still down. So her family's Del Norte. My family was Alamosa, La Jera, Bountiful, Sanford, all these little small towns. So yeah.
There's supposed to be. We were looking at the troll up in um, what's outside Cripple Creek? Victor,
Victor?
Colorado.
Yeah.
The troll that just got put up there like this past year or something like that. And they were talking about the mountain range. We were reading up. Andrew was with me. We were reading up about it, and they were talking about like the holiness of, or like the spiritual piece of that mountain range in
Huh.
that area. And it's very interesting because
Yeah.
I know they have a lot of sanctuaries and stuff that they put up in those mountains just
Uh-huh.
because of like some kind of like spiritual draw that folks have.
Interesting.
And I don't know if it's back to like your ancestry, but like something about that area draws a lot of people from
Yeah.
all around the world. I know a lot of celebrities go because there's sanctuaries like Buddhist temples in and
Oh
around
yeah.
that area too. And I didn't know if you've ever heard about any of
I
that stuff
haven't.
before.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that same draw to that same area too, or if it's just the Springs for you too, but it's
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Personally don't feel any kind of spiritual connection to any place.
Yeah.
But I mean, there just isn't another way to say it. It's just home.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for you. I asked your brother this too. Bunch of entrepreneurs in your family, for sure. Where do you think that comes about, like with your family?
Gosh, man, I don't know. I mean, I honestly thought Rocky would be the only one. I mean, he's just cut from a different cloth than any other human being. And what makes Rocky special is, and I think a lot of successful people are wired the way Rocky is people that are not afraid to fall. That's Rocky. Like he's not afraid and never has been. I mean, he ran to LA as fast as he could get his diploma. I mean, as soon as he turned his tassel, he was out of here, and the other thing that makes him special is that if he can't do something and he knows that he will never, ever do that or never want to do that, he will find someone to do it for him. Even if he has to pay him, he's going to figure it out. It's just not going to be your way or my way. It's going to be Rocky's way.
Mm.
And that's what makes him like this great entrepreneur. For Casey and I don't think either of us ever thought we would be an entrepreneur. Yeah, I for sure didn't think I'd ever start something. I always loved championing other people. I really felt like that was my calling. I'm a champion. I love being a cheerleader. I love rah-rah-rahing somebody. I'll get in your corner for sure. And I've always felt like I'm a champion for the city. But yeah, I don't know how we ended up here. I just think that things have a way of finding me, and I'm okay with that. I'm not really chasing much myself. Yeah.
We were talking about this too in the last episode, like gathering around like a Thanksgiving table, whenever the three of you or what your whole family gets together, like what do you guys talk about? Do you guys talk about business, or you guys are connected in
No.
a whole nother level
I
because you're
mean, maybe
brothers?
some of the joking, like,
Yeah.
hey, start a business, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Who said that? Like, that's hard. We do that kind of joke. But yeah, when we're together, it's just cutting up and yeah, jokes and hanging and being together. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
also a great
Yeah.
way to be. It's your
Yeah.
brothers at the end of the day too, right?
Yeah.
Is there because you're the oldest, right?
Yeah.
So what's like the age difference? Are you guys pretty close in age too?
Very close. Yeah. I mean, we all grew up real close, best friends. Yeah. I'm 46. Casey's 44. Rocky's 42 tomorrow. 41 tomorrow, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, his birthday party's coming. That's right.
Birthday bash.
We're just talking
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Every
We
year.
got the invite. We're
Every year.
VIPs evidently.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool, man. That's really special, and it's good that you guys keep so tight knit. And I know Rocky moved back in like a couple of years back, right? And has it been great having all the brothers back together again? How's that been? Because he
Ye-
was gone for like a long, long time, like
Well,
2
they both
decades.
were. So
Oh.
Rocky moved to LA, and then Casey was on tour. He was the first one to go on tour with Bob the Builder. It's like the kids like TV show.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did like a live stage show.
Oh, really?
So he was like, they were both like driving he was Rolly, I think, like one of the dump trucks or whatever.
That's
And then
funny.
Rocky was on the show. He was the Scarecrow.
Oh, really?
So they both traveled with that for a little bit. And then Rocky went back to LA. Casey got hired on to do Walking with the Dinosaurs, kind of as their lead mechanic. And then he did Batman. So, I mean, the two of them, they've seen the world. Casey's seen more of the world than Rocky because he did, gosh, maybe 8 years on the road. I mean, South America, all over America, Canada, Europe. I mean, they were everywhere for a long time. So Casey moved back first, and then Rocky most recent from his China stint. And now Casey's gone again.
Yeah.
So
He's like in Georgia or something, right?
he is in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So moved out there to expand Axe and the Oak.
Yeah, most definitely. And we're big supporters of all that stuff for sure. We love Axe and Oak.
It's not hard to be a supporter of
Yeah,
Axe and Oak.
for sure.
Yeah,
Every
we're quality assurance.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't had too many because my family lived in Kentucky, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
we were like on the Bourbon Trail.
Yeah.
My mom lived out there because she was an executive in the newspaper industry, and all the distilleries are real close to each other.
Yeah.
So you can like hit all of them up, and it's kind of crazy to hit all of them up, but you can hit all of them up.
Yeah.
And so like I would say the past 15 years being in Colorado, I've been like, there's not really anything that I thought was good, and then I
Yeah.
stumbled upon Axe and Oak, and then this other one, 291. Those
Yeah.
are like by far my two most favorite ones. And
Yeah.
they're in my town, which is
Yeah.
even cooler because I've tried all the ones in Denver and all around.
Yeah.
We did a distillery fest and stuff like that, and I haven't had like those are my two favorite by far.
Yeah.
So kudos to your brother and what he's doing because it's really good whiskey, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
So let's go back to everything with Yobel and the Lookup Gallery. What are you guys doing right now? Obviously, you weren't expecting to be put in this place, but what are you guys doing right now to pivot? I know there's still information still coming down, so you're kind of in this
Yeah.
crazy spot where you're waiting to hear back. Now you're hearing information, even just in the past maybe few days or hours or whatever it might be. But what
Yeah.
are you guys doing in the meantime to prepare for whatever happens, I suppose?
Yeah. I mean, we're always planning because we have bigger dreams for the future anyway. But yeah, it's crazy the amount of work from a situation like this. I think it'd be easy to be like, this really is horrible. We're sorry. But at least you can take some time off. Like, no, I mean, we're working sun up, sun down. It's just so much work in the last couple of weeks. It's been, it's a different situation and it's a different plan every day. So yeah, it's a lot of hurry up and plan and hurry up and wait. So we're trying to not to be too emotional, and we're trying to be steady. Um, so like I said, we'll kind of take this weekend to try to breathe and spend time with family, and then next week get back after. Right now, we'll just be on the hunt. So we're going to look for a couple spaces next week. Like everybody else, Icons is looking at some spaces, and so yeah, preparing and planning and preparing and replanning is kind of what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drawing a new plan every day. It seems like that's what I was doing before I came over here, was drawing floor plans for what could be a next location. So yeah, I mean, it's, I think the biggest kind of kick in the teeth is, we're still trying to get out from under the last disaster. Because we bought the business, we weren't expecting to move. So then we had moving expense. We weren't
Right.
expecting to, quadruple our inventory. We had to do that, and then we had to do a full build out. So, yeah, and then since COVID, it's been a different business every single year for everybody that is in business. Like nobody has had a consistent year. Like there's no like, well, let's just look over year. What does it look like last year? Well, don't look at last year, because it has nothing to do with what's going on in the state of the world right now.
For sure.
So it's not going to be different next year. I mean, that's my projection. I mean, I think most of us that are have a business, like we're all just trying to hold our breath to 2025. All of my chips are on 2025. I have very high hopes. I'm very optimistic to get to that space. But we have to get there. And I do think that it's possible. I think, since COVID, it's been a roller coaster. We had a big spike because everyone came out of their homes and they're like, I'm buying a steak and I'm going to Mexico. I'm getting
For sure.
Yeah. And it was good for all of us, like surprisingly good for all of us. And then the next year, like reality set in, and then since then, everything. I mean, it's the first time in most of our lives, everything is up. Rates are up, prices are up, and everything is up, and it's confusing. And so then now we have an election year next year. So that's going to, we'll all lose our mind, and we have to constantly remind ourselves that there are good people, and just don't focus on social media. But in our city, so I think timeliness, like getting to 2025, people will like come up for air, want to hug each other again. That'll be positive for business. But I also think in our city, so in the last, I tell people this all the time, in the last 7 years, however long it's been, we added about 700 residential units with Echo and the May and Blue Dot. I mean, Blue Dot, I think, was the first, and everyone's like, this is so cool.
It was, yeah. 40 years or something like that.
Yeah. And it's small. It's super cool, but it's small. But for our tiny little community, that was a pretty big deal. So since then, we've added these places, and it seemed like 700 units or 600 units, whatever it is. That's a lot for our downtown. Well, in the next couple of years, we're opening up 5,000 residential units downtown.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include more hotels. That completely changes the landscape of Colorado Springs. That changes, I mean, again, if you're a business owner downtown, then you need to support restaurants downtown, because they started this thing. Like they put us, we're going the right direction. So we can't afford not to support the people that took the risk to put us go in the right direction. So we need to spend money downtown, and the influx of residential units downtown will add new dollars. And I know that sometimes it's a rub, especially in our city or any city. It's like, well, we need affordable housing. Well, yeah, and we need to work on that, and we are working on that. But we also, affordable housing in an urban core isn't a thing. Like, it's never, you don't go to look for affordable housing in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing, you know?
Mhm.
So it's a different community. You know, I'm not looking for affordable housing in the Broadmoor either. So it's just what it's supposed to be. So, but it will, I believe that it will, you know, the tides will rise downtown if we can get more people living downtown.
Jen, I
Yeah.
feel the same way as too.
Yeah.
I know there's probably people that don't, but
Yeah, I'm very hopeful.
Yeah,
I'm
me
very
too.
hopeful.
That's a lot of wisdom, and I completely agree with you. I mean, just being a downtown business owner too. I mean,
yeah, spend money with us.
Yes.
yeah. But it's true. I think the folks who are working down here and see what's going on and seeing the change, because a long time, I always say this, like we were a very pocketed city. I grew up in Northgate. I had no reason to come downtown,
Right.
like in 2005, right?
And there wasn't a whole lot.
There
to
wasn't
come
a whole
down
lot
for it. Yeah.
downtown, but it's changed. And a
Yes.
lot of people that I know who are still in Northgate are just starting to see the changes in downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of changes in Northgate too. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But
Yeah.
there's a lot going on down here. And like you said, when we see these apartments going up, we're like, man, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Especially if they fill those 5,000 units, it's going to change everything forever. And a
Yeah.
lot of these are scheduled even for 2024.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, that big apartment complex, Fiona, we look at it. We've been looking at it for like 6-7 months. That's a bohem. That thing's
Yeah.
like twice the size of the May
Mhm.
Yeah.
for Eco. And man, if they can fill those spaces, how cool would that be seeing when sunset in Colorado Springs and there's hundreds of people walking their dog or
Yeah.
running and young people coming to be at the restaurants. There's a famous saying, pioneers get slaughtered and settlers prosper. And it's so true for a
Mm.
lot of the people who are the first and do things. It's a
Yeah.
bloodbath.
Yeah.
And it's the saddest thing to see because
Yeah.
they're the ones who really did take the risks.
Yes.
And they're the ones, by and large, a big portion of them who started this thing
Mhm.
are not going to finish this thing. And it's the saddest thing. But you're right. Like, it's our job as the ones who have come in the past few years to like make sure that we are doing our job to be the ones
Yeah.
who are setting the tone for, contributing to these restaurants and shops and
Mhm.
all these different things downtown. I 100% agree with that. That's a really good sentiment.
Yeah. And I think it is important just to continue to echo that. It is our responsibility as a community that we're supporting this business because this was a really rough year for everybody.
Mhm.
Fire, no fire. It was a rough year for everybody.
Not just
And-
me.
You're right. High
Hey.
five. Yeah. We actually just a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. All time is weird now. But we had a little party. Like I said, our house is really small. So we had a little party for some business owners at our store because it's bigger than our house. And it really was like, just come. There's no speech here. We're just, pouring drinks and eating food. And it was so special because it really was like just a time for business owners to like let the air out a little bit.
Mhm.
It's like people come in like, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's fine. If I'm being honest, it's really hard right now.
Yeah.
And we want to quit every day, So, and everyone got like, it was like, everyone comes in fronting always, right? But then 2 seconds in, everyone's just like guards down and we're just having fun. We need a place that's safe to vent. And yeah, it was really special. So we need to, we need that same kind of camaraderie. We need to realize, the climate right now, but we also need to realize who has taken the risk, to pave these roads for us. And we need to understand that it's going to get worse before it gets better. I really believe that next year is going to be worse. So, man, like we got to support so we can make it to, the promised land.
It's so true,
Yeah.
though, man. No, those are
Mhm.
great points. And I think everybody who has a business has understood that.
Yeah.
My festival that I was telling you about before we started, like they know, like, it. I mean, for 2020, I didn't have a festival. So,
Yeah.
like, I had to take on a ton of debt
Yeah.
just to hold that thing out through 2020 and then 2021. Biggest event I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
And then 2022, gas prices go up
Yeah.
$5-6 a gallon. My event's an international event and a
Yeah.
national event. All those people who bought tickets didn't even redeem their tickets, or they didn't even buy them because they didn't want to pay the gas to get to the
Yeah.
festival. So like it has been like crazy, and I think we're all in the same boat, like
Yeah.
you're saying, and I think we all got to stick together. And
Yeah.
so it's so cool that you guys build up that and have that camaraderie with other business owners, and so they don't know that they're in this alone. Like
Yeah.
we're all in this together.
Yeah.
There's so much light on the other side of this. I agree with you. I think next year will be the craziest year we've ever gone through. At least as us as professionals in our lifetime. But I definitely see like a rebound happening, and there's going to be some things that I'm hoping, right?
Mm.
I think it's going to be a really good and like a really interesting year, but I think you're right. I think there's going to be that rebound in 2025 or the end of 2024 to make everything right. And
Yeah.
we're getting close to wrapping this up, but I had to ask you because I know it's something very important to you. You said the only thing you wanted out of life was to be a father. I
Mhm.
know you have 3 teenagers.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that and being an entrepreneur, and we'll close this thing out with a couple more
Yeah.
questions.
We teenagers, that period. Like that's just teenagers are tough. They are tough.
Yeah.
My kids were the best kids that ever walked the earth. Like period, hands down. I will arm wrestle anyone. They were so much fun. They were just the best. And as each one turned 14, wow, teenagers, man. Ooh, it was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, every one of them. So, yeah, they're all kind of coming out of that. So my oldest is 20, and he's now at the point where, we'll sit on the back deck together. He'll put his hand on my shoulder, and he's like, "Dad, been really hard on you, and I'm really sorry." And you're just like, "Thanks, Dad. Thanks, bud. Thanks."
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all. My son Noah, he will graduate this year,
Oh, that's awesome.
and then off to whatever's next for him. And then the baby of the bunch, Gracie, is 15. So, yeah, I mean, it is a special thing to be a dad. Really tiring but easy thing when they're younger. Hard when they're teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some. I mean, I always think about like I think they idolize your parents when you're a kid, and then when
Uh-huh.
you're a teenager, you kind of like villainize them because they're the ones saying no to you, all the things you want to do.
Yeah.
And then when you hit 20 or something like that, you
Uh-huh.
kind of humanize them. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I know my dad, and I recognize him for his good qualities, and I can also see his bad qualities, but I recognize him as a human,
Yeah.
and he's more of a human. And so, like your son, kind of going full circle and be like,
Yeah.
Dad, I put you through a lot of shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
And I
sorry.
think we have to go through it because we need to see what we did to our parents. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just like, why was I like that?
yeah.
This is horrible. Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
But it's good.
good on you, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you contributing to repopulation in our community.
Yeah.
It's an important thing, especially for our generations to have kids for
Yeah.
sure, because we're having
Yeah.
less than baby boomer,
Yeah.
counterparts. But so 2024 is coming up. We're at the eve of it. This episode will come out very beginning of 2024. If everything went well for you, what does that year look like for your business?
Man,
Just putting out a lot of fires, huh?
Yeah. Too soon with the terms.
Oh, Andrew.
Too soon, buddy. Too soon. My common phrase is like when the smoke clears, and so I've been trying to figure out a different.
Okay, nice.
I got to keep my head above the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, man, just reopening. And we don't know what reopening looks like. So we know that we will. We have no idea about time frame. We don't know what's realistic. We don't know. We don't know so much. So, yeah, we have no answers right now. So we're on the hunt, and yeah, keep following us on our Instagram, Shop Yobel, so because we'll keep everybody updated there, and keep coming to Look Up Gallery's art shows, and same thing, Instagram, Look Up Gallery. We'll give updates every month and every week about what's going on and where we're going to be.
You guys do the first Friday every month too, right?
Yep, we throw a great party.
Yeah. And that's you guys putting that on, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
All,
Kent- and
all
Kent-
of the
oh, sorry.
galleries, first Friday of every month is the celebration, kind of where they debut their featured artist. Everyone's open till 9:00. Serve drinks. There's music. We have a DJ. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. We throw a good party. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Was there a first Friday before you guys were doing it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
Most communities have some kind of first Friday, last Friday where they debut their artist for the month.
Yeah, yeah,
You get
I've noticed
galleries.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you
So-
guys are the ones that started it here. So Yeah.
If you want to give us credit, just don't tell the rest of the gallery.
Okay, yeah.
No,
For sure.
I mean, our art community is awesome. I mean, we're really good friends. I mean, We adore Abigail at Kreuzer and Gundy at G44 and Valerie over at Surface. And we love playing tour guides. Everyone that comes into our store, and for the most part, they're tourists, and we love playing tour guides. So we always tell people, we promise we won't tell you where to hike. You're in Colorado. You can figure that out on your own. But we will tell you where to eat and drink. And so we love telling people where to go and, where to go see art. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you so much for contributing to our community in so many different facets, man. And
Well,
we want to
likewise.
support you. We want to help you. We want to do whatever we can to spread the word. Whatever the updates come out, we'll make sure to spread on our channel and make
Thank you. I
sure that
appreciate
folks are keeping an eye out for you and shopping online, whatever they need to do. We're with you. We're a downtown business just like you. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Well, this has been an episode of the COS Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
All righty.
Boom. That was good.
Did it.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. For sure.